Hi,
Hi.
welcome to the Hidden Gifts of Lost podcast. I'm your host, Julie Trainer, and I have a very special guest joining me today. I have Darcy Volden, and she is a channeler of light language, and I met her through Do the Thing challenge and just was immediately drawn to her beautiful energy. And I've experienced her light language channeling, and it's really powerful and amazing and not something I can even describe. But today she is going to share with me a story about her late husband. And I'm so honored to have you, Darcy, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your story. So,
Yeah, thank you so much. I love when I saw that you were doing this for the podcast. I'm like, I couldn't wait because I was telling you earlier, like I haven't ever had a chance to share the full story. And so I just said thank you for giving me the opportunity to share the full
mm,
story about my husband, Jeff. And so it's a fascinating one. So you just let me know and I will just roll with it.
you just roll with it. I'm just
Okay.
really honored to be listening and
Yeah.
get to share
So
this.
um Jeff and I met on a blind date. And it was funny because it just the way circumstances were, I almost blew my chance to even have this blind date with him because I had to stand him up. The first date that we were going to have, I had to stand him up due to circumstances. And I thought, oh man, I'm never going to get a chance to meet this guy again. But long story short, he gave me another chance to meet up with him, and we met up at it was a bar, and I'll say why that's significant later. But in any case, obviously we didn't know what each other looked like. We'd only spoken to each other on the phone. And it was funny because, I was so nervous, meet this guy. I've never been on a blind date before. And so when my very first second when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, he looked like Hell's Angel, like just this big guy. He's got this big goatee beard down to here and I'm thinking, oh my God. I mean, that dude, he looked like he would just knock me down. And I thought, isn't it interesting that his friends and my friend who were married, they were like, they thought that me and him would just be like perfect together, and he wasn't like stereotypically like my type at
Yeah.
all. I'm thinking like
Wow.
big Harley biker guy, and it's fine. He didn't even own a motorcycle. Anyway, but uh 9 months later, Jeff and I were married. And it was a beautiful wedding. It was a nighttime wedding. It was all candlelit. It was really something. And he had told me, golly, I'm already choked up.
Mhm.
Um, he had told me, he said, he goes, I knew that the minute that I met you, the moment I laid eyes on you, he goes, that's the woman I'm gonna marry. And it was like, wow,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
wow.
And so anyway, Jeff and I were married for 15 years. And he helped to raise my son. So when he came into my life, my son was 5 years old. And so
Mm.
Jeff had raised my son Landon, just as his own, all those years. And um, anyway, Jeff and I had a really great relationship, and we were just really good buddies, really great friends. And yet, kind of at the end, we're getting closer to those 15 years. We both were feeling like we weren't living our true lives. It was funny. I remember that the day that he asked me to marry him, his mom said to me, she said, she goes, he's a workaholic, she said, you're never gonna see him. And I'm like, oh, that he's a hardworking man, I mean, like, I'm not worried about that. But honestly, I mean, she was right. And it was almost to his detriment that, I mean, he worked 3, 4 jobs often. And I've never met a human being that could function on such little sleep. And
Wow.
he was actually, one of the many jobs that he had was he would actually clean the bar that we met at.
Hmm.
And And so he'd have to do that after hours, after the bar closed at like 2 in the morning. And so anyway, Jeff was always so busy working. And at that time, I was almost 300 pounds and, just broker than broke. And I'm sitting on the couch, just wishing and dreaming of a different life, a better life, like what would it be to travel, to adventure, to go see the world, to go check all these things off my bucket list. And Jeff, as much as he had dreams and hopes and goals, he was not ever going to take a day off from work. He literally, in 15 years, he worked 7 days a week. And again, often 2 or 3 jobs, and he never once took a day off.
Wow.
Not even over the weekends, nothing. So Jeff and I never got to create any memories together. So we never got to, you know, go to this event, or we never got to go to this vacation. We had a couple little things, but nothing like, God, remember when we did this and remember when we did
Yeah.
that. And so, um, as it turned out to be, Jeff and I decided that we were going to let each other go, and that we
Mm.
were going to let each other go experience a life how we wanted to experience it.
Mm.
And we called the ending of our marriage just a conscious completion. And
Oh.
we still loved each other very much.
Mhm.
But we knew that we both were living two very different lives. And I feel like he let me go live my life. Like, what a gift. What a gift. And I'll
Yes.
get to that in a minute, right? So what a gift to let me go play, so that, because like I said, I
Yeah.
want to leave this planet of like, yes, like that was an incredible life. I didn't want to leave this life of being overweight, sitting on a couch of a suburb apartment and just like, man, that, wow,
Yeah.
what a life. So anyway, like I said, we loved each other. We really loved each other. And I remember the day that we went to the courthouse to finalize our marriage. Um, we're sitting there in the benches, and he and I are just bawling. We're holding each other. We're crying. I know everybody there in divorce courts, like, what,
Oh
what
my
is wrong
God.
with you?
That's so
It was,
sweet.
it was our turn. We stood up in front of the judge. We're holding each other. We're crying, both of us just crying, but yet knowing it was like, it's, it's what we needed to do. We were both just so clear of that.
Mhm.
So anyway,
This is when you got divorced.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
So Jeff and I got divorced, and that was in 2019.
Okay.
And I've never once called him my ex-husband. Never. He's
Mm.
always my husband. He'll always be my husband.
Yeah.
Even if I were to ever remarry, Jeff is still my husband.
Yeah.
And so anyway, um, as it would turn out to be, I ditched everything I owned, and I manifested an RV, and I'd lost 130 pounds. By that time I'd lost 100 pounds.
That's amazing.
And so, and that was the thing. I left in Austin, Texas, February the 15th, 2019, um, in my RV on an indefinite solo journey to wherever, who knows where, just, yeah, indefinitely. And
Wow.
so, as we speak, it will be now at 5 years that I've been on the road, and I'm still doing what I call going on a living spree, GOALS, going on a living spree. And
I
my goal
love
is
that.
checking off all those things on my bucket list, on my goals list. Well, um, over the years, Jeff is always he's just been my biggest cheerleader. I mean, he's always just been there cheering me on, and, send him pictures where I'm at, or sometimes he'll think of me and send me a song. Like, he knows that I'm driving down the road, and he's just like, this one's for you, babe.
Oh.
And
Mm.
so anyway, Jeff, he had been having some really bad problems with his heart. He was he's was missing a fourth part of his heart that most people have 4 and he only had 3. Whatever, I can't even remember what it was at this point, but he was having
Wow.
some really massive problems with his heart.
Mm.
And by the way, the one day that he took off from work, well, it was more than one day. It was a few days. He had a heart attack, and it forced him to take off of work.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God.
That, by the way, that had happened like right before our divorce. But
Mhm.
just so you know, that was the the only time
Only
that he
day he took off
had
work.
problems with his heart. But
Mm.
in any case, we'll just fast forward uh to New Year's 2022.
Mhm.
And I was participating in an ayahuasca ceremony,
Mm.
and it was incredible. And as an ayahuasca journey goes, I'm doing the journey.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm reminded, let me back up. I left out a part here. So
Okay.
I knew that before that ayahuasca journey, because that was December 31st, I knew that next week in January, Jeff was going to have very major open heart surgery.
Mm.
And so I knew that was upcoming. So anyway, I'm in the journey with ayahuasca. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Mama Ayahuasca, shows me that Jeff died. And I was like, no, 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 no. I'm like,
What?
I'm like, this is metaphoric. I'm like, this is metaphoric. And I was in such shock. And then the rest of that journey was Jeff. And he was there and he was showing me every way that he was going to be there with me the rest of my life.
Mm.
He was very insistent. I kept seeing him in the jungle. I kept seeing him in the jungle. And like there was like a tarp. Like I kept seeing it like a tarp that I was under, but then I could see Jeff in the jungle with kind of like the jungle makeup on, but I was like, I knew that he was in the army. He had been in the army, and I knew that he had been stationed in Hawaii. And so it's just like, okay, I mean, it makes sense because it was very kind of a military looking, about like in the jungle. And he's like, I got you. He's like, I got you. And he said, you know, how he would come to me in music, and how he would give me those little things. He said, if any time that you ever feel afraid, he's like, I got you right here. He's like, you
Oh,
no reason to be afraid anymore. I got you. And he was so insistent to make sure that I really, really got it, you know. And
wow.
so after he came out of the medicine, I was just like, what happened? You know, like, was that real? Was it not? Is did he have a heart attack, you know,
Mm.
during that ceremony that I don't know of? Or like, is he gonna not make it through the surgery for his heart? And so uh on the way home, I was like, I knew, like, I wanted to call Jeff because I was, you know, make sure he's still okay, but yet I was so
Yeah.
afraid something happened. But I called him. He was fine. He was
Oh,
perfectly fine. I was just like, oh,
oh my
thank
God.
God, you know. But of course, I couldn't tell him, you know, what I saw.
Mm.
So then a couple weeks later, I knew the surgery was coming up. And so I called him the night before, and I'm just like, Jeff, gosh, I'm like, are you good? You know, like in my mind, I'm thinking, is he not going to make it through this
Mhm.
surgery? And again, of course, you know, I can't tell him. And he's like, Darcy's like, I'm good. He said, you're good. I'm good. He
Mm.
said, you and I have had a awesome time together. He said, and I don't regret anything at all. So he said, so if something happens to me, he's like, we're good. We're
Mm.
so good. And so I'm like, okay. So he was having his surgery. And the next day, you know, I'm like, God, did he make it? You know, did he make it?
Yeah.
And so uh, when he was able to call, I got, that's Jeff. Okay, he made it. He made it through the
Mm.
surgery. I was like, wow, wow. Okay,
Right. Relief.
that was amazing. That was just something. So then, I'm gonna fast forward to April. So that was January, and I was um at the cabin in Missouri, where I'm at actually right now. But anyway,
Mm,
he he called me really late. It was April the 12th, really late. It's
mm,
like 2 in the morning, and I was so tired, like I didn't answer the phone.
mm.
And then he called again, and I'm like, oh, I better answer the phone.
Yes.
And so I answered it, and he's like, Darcy, he's like, I just want to talk to you. He's
Ah.
just silly. And I'm like, golly, you. And it was a
Um,
beautiful conversation. He was telling me all about his hopes, his dreams, his goals. How you want to ride his motorcycle across the Bonneville Salt Flats,
mm.
and just sharing about all those things that he wants to do. And he's like, he's like, come on, Darce, let's me and you, let's go do some of this stuff. I'm like, yeah, we got to
Oh,
do some of this stuff. And so anyway, that was a great conversation. And then the next night he texted me, and he says on this text to me, this was on the 13th of April, his
mhm.
text to me said, I still think we should grow old together. I was like,
Aw.
God, that's yeah. And then I said to Aya right there, I'm like, why did you show that to me? Why did you show me that Jeff died?
Mhm.
Why?
Yeah.
It's like it just seemed like so cruel, because it was like so real, and it was so like, I mean, it was, I like, why?
Yeah.
And I heard her say, as clear as could be, she said, because he's going to die soon. And she said, it's the only way that he could give you that gift was through the medicine. The only way. And
Oh my
so
God.
then the next morning, I got the message that Jeff had been killed in a motorcycle accident.
Oh my God, Darcy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean,
oh,
it was just such shock.
oh my
So
God.
it was,
Oh,
it was
oh,
just I mean, just didn't expect, figured it's, if anything, it's going to be his heart, and like a motor
yeah.
accident,
Yeah.
and he
Wow.
just talked about, wanting to ride that bike
Yeah.
across the Bonneville Salt Flats. And then there was that part of me that was like, man, damn, Jeff, you go, brother. I mean, like, if you were going to pick a way to go out, it's like you were doing what you loved. It was instant, I say, die young, stay pretty,
Yeah.
you're immortal
Yeah.
forever, and that big goatee beard of yours, and,
Um,
big gruff guy. So
wow.
anyway, um, sorry, my glasses keep fogging up.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
so that was April the 15th.
Hmm.
Um, that was April the 15th, the 2022. So that's
Wow.
coming up here,
That is
anniversary.
2 years. Wow.
So as it would turn out, um, that summer, so that's April, May, June, they
Mhm.
couldn't bury Jeff right away because of the COVID stuff. There was a backup of the
Uh-huh.
cremations and all of that. But anyway, I had left Missouri to come back to Austin because I wanted to be there for Jeff's service, and my mom was there. And the day before his service, my mom and I were sitting out on the back patio, and on the canopy of the table we were at was this beautiful little pigeon.
Hmm.
And my mom and I were looking at this pigeon, and my mom put her hand out, and the pigeon came and flew and landed on her arm. And it was,
Whoa.
wow. And my mom's like, oh my, she's like, it's Jeff.
Uh-huh.
And I put my hand out, and the pigeon came and landed in my hand. And then it jumped on my shoulder, and it was like it was kissing my cheek very
Oh.
gently. It was just, and I've got all kinds of pictures of it. I was like, Mom, you gotta take a picture. Like, we gotta get this. And I knew that was Jeff.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so,
absolutely.
um,
Yeah.
and we that pigeon was there with us for quite some time. I mean, long enough that we had to go in, and tell the pigeon, Jeff, like, God, thank you. And then we've never ever seen another pigeon there ever again. But
Wow.
so, his service was just absolutely epic. It was just cool because I knew that if he could have seen his service, it would have been like, wow, that. But um, what occurred next was as I was in Austin, I was sitting in my room at my mom's of just trying to figure out what's next for me.
Mhm.
And it's a whole nother very long story, but the short of it is I got out of nowhere this opportunity to go to Costa Rica for a month to go help to be a volunteer at an ayahuasca community
Mm.
there.
Wow.
And so I thought, well, isn't that interesting? And
Mm.
I thought I can either sit in this room here and try to figure this stuff out, or I can go sit in the middle of the jungle for a month and try to figure this out. So I went.
The jungle. That's
Yeah.
interesting
So I
because
went to the
yeah.
jungle. I went to the jungle. And so when I was there, maybe a couple weeks after I was there, was an opportunity to participate in ceremony.
Mhm.
And so uh, that night, and by the way, in Costa Rica in the summer is rainy season, and it rains every single day. Like
Oh, my
raining,
goodness.
raining, raining. Except that night of that ceremony, it did not rain. And
Mm.
I was outside, laying down on a deck under a tarp. And I looked up in the jungle, and there's Jeff.
Oh,
There
mm,
he is, just how I saw him in
mm.
that first ceremony in the jungle and he's like, I got you.
Oh,
Instead, I said, I got you. And
um,
so I say it was literally the same vision, and that I happened to be laying under that tarp, looking up and seeing him in the jungle. Exact scene. And so as it would turn out to be in my month in the jungle, I got to participate in several ceremonies there, and it really was the opportunity for me to move through that grief. And
mhm.
I didn't realize the depth of the grief that I was carrying. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
of
knew I was upset over it,
course. Yeah,
but I
there's
didn't
layers.
because I guess the thing that was so hard is that Jeff was always my security. I told him, I said, I always knew that I'm so safe with him, that he could be
Mhm.
at the helm of the ship during the worst of storms and I could just sleep like a baby in the hull because he's got it.
Yeah,
And even as I travel and have been traveling over the past 5 years, he's always been my safe harbor. Like I knew if anything happened to me, Jeff would come there in 2 seconds,
yeah.
help me. And he has in many ways over the years. Um,
Mhm.
so just to be able to have worked through that grief like that. Now,
Mm. It's
so fast forward to last October. When I was in Costa Rica, Mama Ayahuasca showed me that I'm supposed to host an ayahuasca ceremony. Me? Like, no, 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 no. But when Mama says, well, Mama says. So anyway, I had hosted a women's ayahuasca retreat outside of Austin, and I was still kind of again trying to figure out what I was going to do or where I was going to go, and just even like relationship wise, like where
mhm.
am I going? What do I want? What do I don't want? Even in a relationship, and I said, it's like I've always said, this is this special love, like a love like no other on this planet. Or my words, a love like no other on this
On
planet.
this planet. Mm. Mhm.
And so in that ceremony, Jeff came
Mm.
again,
Uh,
and I got to experience a love like no other on this
on
planet.
this planet. Oh, that's so beautiful.
And
Mm.
so I got to share just a beautiful love for each other, on the other side in the realm. And so to this day, it's like it's like I'm not seeking a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
because it's like I got the love of my life.
Yeah.
Got the love of my life. Like it's like, God, what a guy. How
Yeah.
lucky I am. And that's not to say that I wouldn't ever be in another
Sure.
relationship. I leave that open, but because I even in that journey, I said, yeah, Jeff, but like I mean, like what if, I mean, you're there and I'm here, and I mean,
Yeah.
like that. He's like, Darcy, he goes, I want you to experience love. I
Mm,
want that for you. This is about love. It's not this, it's like go be in love. I want
yeah.
that for you, so
Aw.
it's like I got that gift from him
Mm-hmm.
as well. And so, he appears to me often in little ways, and just on the way here to talk to you, I was thinking about him because I knew that we're going to be talking, and I looked up and there was a sign that said about to watch for motorcycles. And then there was I saw it, and then I looked right across the intersection, and there was somebody's cattle guard gate, and it had a big J on it, and there were all kinds of sunflowers around it. And Jeff knew always that my favorite flowers were sunflowers,
Oh my
and it was just
God.
like, ah,
Oh, I have chills. Oh,
yeah, I got you. And it's just cool how he shows up to me. So he's always here, but
mm,
that is something. And like I said, to this day, he'll always be my husband. Oh,
mm-hmm.
Jeff is
Mm.
my husband. So that is my story of,
Oh, that
yeah,
is beautiful. Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
And I sent you the pictures of, I went to visit his grave site. Um, it was cool because he was in the army. They put his ashes in an ammo can. It was so quintessential Jeff,
Oh my God.
And so he's buried at the Veterans Cemetery outside of Austin. And so, or his ashes are interned there.
Mhm.
And I took our dog uh, when I went to go visit him. And yeah, and he loved Rush music,
Oh,
and he
mhm.
also loved Led Zeppelin. Like
Mm.
he loved Led Zeppelin so much, and Rush. And uh so we played some Rush and Led Zeppelin for Jeff. And the picture I sent you of our dog that she laid on top of his marker, and I mean, she put herself there. It wasn't like I posed her for those pictures.
Right.
So
Wow.
to see her lay on his marker, because he really loved her so much. But yeah, what a guy. He was he was just an awesome guy. He would do anything for anybody, and that was, to lift a burden for somebody so they didn't have to carry it.
Mm.
He said that's why God gave him that just big girth, this shoulders, so he could help to
Yeah.
carry the weight of another when it was too hard for
Oh,
them. And he did that, and that was his gift for people. So
oh
um
my God.
Jeff, on his for his memorial service, his sister made a beautiful little photo keepsake for everybody. And on it, it says, in the words of Jeff Hogue, which Jeff would say, he said, quit your crying and go live an epic story.
Oh,
That's
wow. Ugh,
the words of
that's
Jeff
what you're
Hogue,
doing.
and that is what I'm doing. And that's the message for everybody too that's listening, is just quit your crying and go live an
Yeah.
story, because like I said, Jeff, 2 days before he died, oh my goodness, sorry,
Okay.
2 days before he died, that he's just telling me all about his hopes and his dreams and his goals, and it is, cliche, tomorrow's never promised, but
Mhm.
tomorrow's never promised,
Exactly. It's not. And wow, did you ever get that message? I mean,
Yeah.
oh my God. I had advance notice, not from an ayahuasca ceremony, but from a cancer diagnosis that I was going to lose my mom, but to just have it like so suddenly thrust on upon you like that it's just a whole different,
Yeah.
like one loss isn't it depends on the person in your relationship. One's not harder, but yet, yes, it is in a
Yeah,
way. That is
yeah,
to me just, and it's almost like, the ayahuasca, it was preparing you in a way,
yeah,
and he was preparing you
yeah, yeah,
through that.
yeah.
Now, was that something the two of you had ever done that journey together? No.
No, no, never. He never messed with any of that kind of stuff, and never had a desire to, and yeah. So even that makes it just even that much more. I mean, like going through an ayahuasca or plant medicine journey, like even that to just solidifies the truth in it, what we experience or what we receive. It's like I mean, literally, you can't make this stuff up. I
Mm-mm.
mean,
No, you can't.
yeah, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
that's
just
my
beautiful.
story of Jeff, and I just like I said, if I could just share his words one more time for anybody that's listening is to just quit your crying and go live an epic story. Don't sit on the couch and wish and wonder because like I said, and that's what I do now in my life. That's where I've just literally dedicated my life to helping people leave this planet just like, yeah,
Yeah.
that was an incredible, incredible life. So that's what I do is manifesting mastery and reality creation teaching. And then also, and you mentioned the channeling, which was gifted to me last year. And I know that, my whole plant medicine journey has kind of led me up to this point. And uh, that's another way that I'm able to really help people to be able to just get rid of what's in the way so that we can just because all any of us want to do is we want to live an epic life. We want to leave here like being who we really are and maybe having done a few things that we're like, yeah, okay, well, I
Yeah.
got to do that.
Yeah. I did the
So that's
thing.
what I do. And do the thing.
Do
Oh
the
my God.
thing.
Hey, guess what? Look at my
You
look
got
at
your
my
do the
shirt.
thing
Yeah,
swag.
my
I need to get some do the thing swag. I love it. I love it. And I love
yeah,
how that, because we said yes to doing the thing in whatever form. And then actually Stacy has to do the thing. I mean, that's how I met you. And, we just got to hear that beautiful story. I
yes.
love that. And I love the hidden gifts like the sign with the sunflowers that I those things those are not coincidences. That is absolutely that person saying hi,
Yeah,
and I got you. I love that.
yeah.
And you have that eternally. You and he
Eternally.
have that connection. Wow.
Eternally, yeah. And so it is neat to, I shared with you how I do sacred sound ceremony and the thing of what is neat is he's there with me every single time for everybody and he appears as this just beautiful angel that's like it's like pewter wings and he's got a Spartan helmet and but what he does is he's the protector of the space. So he protects that space at all cost. And it's a duty, as he tells me, it's a duty of honor. And so
Wow.
it's there for everybody. Like nothing can come in or nothing, no harm can come to anybody at all there at all. And yeah, nothing's getting past Jeff Hogue.
Oh, I believe. Yeah. Wow. Wow. What a gift, Darcy. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you for letting me
Yeah.
share the whole story. I've never got to tell the story from beginning to end ever, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you that I get to share it with everyone who's listening, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna hit end, or stop recording.
yeah.